A woman drove home in her brand new $95,000 luxury SUV last spring. 9 weeks later, she was back at the dealership, screaming at the manager, keys in her hand, demanding a refund. She's not alone. Across America right now, hundreds of thousands of families are returning SUVs they just financed for 84 months. In 2025, the US saw 19 do not drive recall notices and 16 park outside warnings because so many new vehicles were catching fire. Ford alone racked up 110,011 complaints in a single year. GM has already issued 8 recalls on 80,000 vehicles in 2026, and it's not even halfway through. Today, we're exposing 12 brand new SUVs owners are handing back: the fires, the lockups, the lemon law lawsuits, including a $130,000 Cadillac that paused deliveries because dealers couldn't fix it. Let's investigate. Number 12, Ford Escape, 2025 to 2026. Some SUVs fail slowly. The Ford Escape is failing publicly, and the returns are piling up so fast even dealers have stopped defending it. Buyers who signed loans in 2025 are already back at the service counter, many discovering their new SUV qualifies for lemon law buyback before the first oil change. Here's what's driving them back. Ford issued a recall in 2026 for Escape models, with a defect described as difficult to dismiss. Engineering speak for a failure mode nobody wants to explain in plain English. On top of that, the base engine feels underpowered, the transmission is jerky in daily driving, and Ford's own Bronco Sport, built on the same platform, is now outselling it comfortably while being the better vehicle. Then comes the killer detail. Ford is quietly discontinuing the Escape entirely. Owners financing 84-month loans are discovering they signed for a vehicle their own manufacturer no longer wants to build. Owners are realizing they financed a dead nameplate, shrinking parts priority, plummeting resale value, and a manufacturer that has already written its obituary. When your own automaker gives up on your car, the smartest move is often to hand the keys back before the depreciation lands. One frustrated buyer summed it up on a Ford forum. "I bought a new car, and Ford emailed me its funeral notice 3 months later." That's the moment the return decision writes itself. Coming up, a Tesla that got recalled for a battery defect that literally shuts the SUV off mid-drive. Number 11, Tesla Model Y, 2026. Picture merging onto a busy freeway when your $60,000 electric SUV suddenly stops propelling itself. No warning, no error message, just silent coasting weight. That is what Tesla Model Y owners started reporting in 2026, and the reason reads like a science fiction nightmare. NHTSA, recall 2-5V690, covers 7,925 Model Y SUVs from the 2026 model year, and the problem sounds unbelievable until you read it. Here's what's happening. The Model Y contains a battery pack contactor with a faulty solenoid, and it can open unexpectedly while the vehicle is moving. Translation: the SUV can lose propulsion suddenly at highway speed with zero warning. Tesla itself identified 36 warranty claims and 26 field reports before the recall was even filed. Owners describe watching the dashboard go dead as they merge onto an interstate. One dash cam clip circulating online shows the Model Y's screen simply blanking out in the middle lane of a busy freeway. No warning chime, no error message, just silence and coasting weight. That's on top of 49 broader NHTSA complaints, 2 recalls, and 3 open investigations covering steering control, autopilot issues, and electrical failures. When a car company you paid $55,000 plus to trust starts flagging its own products as capable of losing power at speed, buyers don't wait for a fix. They demand a refund, and Tesla's return counters have never been busier. One owner wrote, "I have kids in this car. I'm not waiting for Tesla to figure it out." That single line captures the entire 2026 return wave. Then there's the 6-figure GM SUV that GM literally paused deliveries on mid-launch. Number 10, Cadillac Escalade IQ 2026. Here's a headline that should not exist in 2026. General Motors paused deliveries of its own new flagship electric SUV, the Cadillac Escalade IQ, because dealers couldn't consistently fix the defects. When your $130,000 luxury flagship gets a stop sale issued by the company that built it, the buyer's decision is already made. The list of problems is long. The IQ shows up on multiple 2026 recalls, including a do not drive warning tied to a transfer case defect that could cause front or rear wheels to lock up without warning. Add in CU infotainment failures, Super Cruise glitches, camera faults, and software issues severe enough to halt shipments. And you have a luxury SUV owners describe as the worst car I have ever bought. The financial pain compounds it. The IQ exceeds the luxury vehicle cap for the $7,500 federal EV tax credit, meaning buyers pay full sticker on a $130,000 vehicle that keeps triggering recalls, then discover themselves stuck in a lemon law queue, while the dealer scratches their head and blames GM's software team. Predictably, the return wave is enormous. Owner Facebook groups now openly warn new buyers to wait a year, let them fix it, don't be the beta tester. When customers are advising other customers to avoid your flagship, inside your own community, the damage is deeper than any recall report can capture. What follows is even more embarrassing. A Cadillac that IHS just rated poor in 2 separate crash tests. Number 9, Cadillac CT5 2026. There's a specific kind of shock parents feel when they read the fine print on a luxury sedan they just financed. Cadillac delivered that shock in 2026 with the CT5, a car marketed as a premium daily driver, now flagged by the safety establishment as something buyers should genuinely reconsider. Here's what happened. The 2026 CT5 was rated poor by IHS in the updated moderate overlap front test, and rated poor again in the side impact evaluation. 2 poor ratings on the same vehicle is a red flag most luxury buyers don't need to see twice. For a car cross-shopped against the BMW 3 Series and Mercedes C-Class, both of which routinely earn top marks, being rated poor in crash testing is the kind of headline that instantly triggers returns and lemon law inquiries. The problem is compounded by the CT5's other issues, the same CUE infotainment failures owners have battled for years, the 10-speed transmission shudder that plagues the entire GM full-size lineup, and Super Cruise glitches severe enough to break driver trust in the assist system entirely. One owner summarized the frustration bluntly: "I paid luxury money for a car that can't pass a crash test and can't hold a radio setting." When your flagship sports sedan fails on both safety and technology, the return counter isn't a customer service problem. It's the market delivering a verdict. Up next, a $95,000 BMW electric SUV owners describe as beautiful, brilliant, and constantly broken. Number 8, BMW iX 2025 to 2026. Walk into any high-end lemon law attorney's office in California right now and ask which luxury EV files most frequently for buyback. The answer is almost always the same: BMW iX, a $90,000 plus luxury SUV wrapped in leather, glass, and premium engineering. Instead, it's becoming one of the most frequently returned luxury EVs in America, and the reason is deceptively simple. BMW built a car whose software is smarter than its owners are supposed to be. Here's what's driving the returns. Owner forums are filled with reports of infotainment freezes, warning lights appearing overnight, iDrive systems that reset mid-drive on freeway on-ramps, and range figures that lose 40% in a cold weather commute. Then there are the deeper concerns: battery-related recalls, charging inconsistencies, and warranty visits that stretch into weeks. When a $95,000 car spends a month at the dealership in its first year, most owners cross the line from frustrated to done. The lemon law math is brutal for BMW. Under California law, if the vehicle sits at the dealer for a cumulative month or gets multiple failed repair attempts on the same defect, the manufacturer must buy it back. High-priced luxury EVs like the iX are showing up in those calculations more often than any premium buyer expected. One iX owner told a lemon law forum, "It's the most beautiful car I've ever owned. It's also spent more time at the dealership than my driveway." That single sentence has become the anthem of 2026 luxury EV returns. Then there's the Ford SUV that just triggered one of the largest fire-related recalls of the year. Number 7, Ford Explorer 2025 to 2026. In a Michigan parking lot last spring, a father sat in his brand new Ford Explorer and refused to drive it. He'd just gotten the recall notice for the 694,000 vehicle fire fire hazard recall, and he was calling his lawyer. He wasn't alone. According to a 2026 Lemon Law study, Ford alone racked up 110,011 complaints in a single year, 17.6% of all filings across every brand combined. Here's what's breaking. The Explorer's most repeated defects touch every critical system at once. Transmission failures, engine stalling, and electrical malfunctions so persistent that lawyers now list the Explorer as one of the top Lemon Law targets in America. In August 2025, Ford launched a massive recall affecting roughly 694,271 vehicles over a serious fire hazard tied to faulty fuel injectors, a defect severe enough to make owners fear parking in their own garages. For a family SUV marketed as safe and dependable, discovering that yours could stall in traffic, or worse, turns a proud purchase into a nightly source of anxiety. Ford's own F-150 shares many of the same platform electronics and fuel system components, meaning the recall pattern isn't just an Explorer story. It's a Ford-wide crisis quietly compounding across America's most popular vehicles. Explorers are being handed back not because owners want the money, but because they no longer trust the machine parked in their driveway. When a mother refuses to let her kids ride in the family SUV, that is the moment a return becomes non-negotiable, no matter what the loan says. Coming up, the Hyundai SUV so complaint-heavy, it's now a Lemon Law lawyer's favorite target. Number 6. Hyundai Tucson, 2025 to 2026. Imagine your family SUV slamming on its own brakes at 55 miles per hour on an empty highway. That is what Hyundai Tucson owners are describing, a car saving them from a threat that isn't there. And that's just one of the problems. But a 2026 study identified it as one of the most complained about vehicles on the market. 87 complaints and 3 separate recalls in one model year. That is a statistical avalanche for a mainstream compact SUV. Here's what owners are reporting. Transmission failures, fuel pump problems, and brake malfunctions. 3 of the most safety-critical systems in a vehicle all failing simultaneously across different owners. When a family SUV fails on its brakes and its fuel delivery in the same model year, this stops being a quality issue and becomes a design one. Add complaints about the forward collision avoidance system engaging incorrectly, meaning the SUV slams its own brakes when nothing is there, and you have a vehicle that can genuinely become dangerous during a normal commute. For buyers who chose the Tucson specifically because Hyundai's warranty was supposed to guarantee peace of mind, the reality of repeated failures and false alarm collision braking has done the opposite. Lemon Law filings for the Tucson are climbing steadily, and dealers are quietly bracing for buyback claims that will drain regional inventories. One dealer, speaking anonymously, admitted, "We know exactly which trims are coming back, we just don't tell the buyer." That is the modern car market in one sentence. What comes next is the Cadillac problem, so severe entire families are fleeing the brand, an SUV with 66 recall models. Number 5, Cadillac Escalade Gas 2026. Easter Sunday, 2026. A Texas family is driving home from grandma's house, 3 kids in the back, when their 2022 Cadillac Escalade locks its rear wheels without warning. They spend hours stranded on a rural road. Their car was serviced 2 months earlier, specifically checked for this exact problem. Even the flagship gas Escalade is now failing. In February 2026, GM issued a do not drive recall affecting 66 models across the Escalade and Escalade ESV family. A component was missing from the drivetrain transfer case that could cause front or rear wheels to lock up without warning. Here's the human impact of that number. One owner reported, "This happened to my 2022 yesterday, Easter Sunday, in the middle of East Texas, driving home from my mother's house. Complete disaster. 3 kids in the car when it locked up. Left us stranded for hours. My entire family could have been seriously hurt." Another wrote, "This is the worst and fattest lemon I've ever owned," describing battery, engine, and transmission replacements at low mileage. That's on top of well-documented V8 lifter failures, torquey converter shutter in the 8-speed and 10-speed automatics, and infotainment failures. When the flagship of your entire brand keeps stranding families, the return counter fills fast, and Lemon Law attorneys start their phones ringing. Cadillac buyers pay a luxury premium specifically to avoid this experience. Discovering they didn't buy immunity, just a nicer badge on the same problems, is the moment loyalty ends. Now enter the SUV so plagued with problems the government issued 19 emergency do not drive warnings in a single year. Number 4, Jeep Wrangler, 2025 to 2026. There's a photo circulating on Jeep owner forums right now. A brand new Wrangler interior with visible mold mold growing under damp carpet. The owner had it 4 months. In 2025 to 2026, Jeep loyalty is finally cracking under the weight of exactly this kind of image. The Wrangler and Grand Cherokee now show up on nearly every major lemon law list, hit repeatedly by the same brutal combination of defects. Here's what owners keep reporting: water leaks, Jeeps arriving at dealers with damp carpets, wet electronics, and mold inside brand new interiors before the first oil change. On a $50,000 SUV, that is not a paint defect. That is a body engineering failure, suspension failures, components giving out on vehicles built to conquer trails, but that can't survive suburban commuting. Steering shimmy, the notorious death wobble that returns despite years of fixes, and hydraulic brake defects severe enough that NHTSA has repeatedly gotten involved. The Grand Cherokee's problems are compounded by cost. This is a $50,000 plus family SUV that lands in the shop for issues nobody would tolerate on a $25,000 car. Consumer Reports data shows Jeep quality scores dropping year over year, and independent mechanics describe the newest Wrangler electronics as a decade behind the price tag. Owners aren't wrong to be furious. When a loyal Jeep customer starts posting, "I loved my brand for 20 years and this is the last one," on owner forums, the return wave has already crossed a psychological threshold Jeep cannot ignore. Water damage voids extended warranties. Suspension failures at low mileage trigger buyback claims. Loyalty, once broken, rarely comes back. Then there's the Toyota. So yes, a Toyota that's shocking the market with its return numbers. Number 3, Toyota Grand Highlander, 2025 to 2026. Toyota mechanics are quietly having conversations they never thought they'd have about buybacks, about turbo failures, about lemon law claims on a Grand Highlander, the newest 3-row family SUV launched with enormous expectations and now generating far more complaints than Toyota has ever tolerated on a flagship model. Here's what owners report. Owners have reported turbo failures on the 2.4-liter engine at surprisingly low mileage, transmission hesitation, infotainment glitches, and rattles that appear inside cabins during the first few thousand miles. Independent complaint databases now show the Grand Highlander with unusual complaint density for a Toyota product. And Toyota's own 41,465 complaint filings across its lineup in 2025 reveal a company whose golden reputation is starting to develop cracks. For families who paid a $55,000 plus premium specifically for Toyota reliability, the very reason they walked past a cheaper competitor, discovering a new Grand Highlander back at the dealer within its first year has been genuinely shocking. Buybacks are still rare, but they are happening. When they happen on a Toyota, the industry pays attention immediately. This is the brand nobody thought could join a return wave list. Longtime Toyota loyalists are now describing their first ever lemon law inquiry as unthinkable a decade ago. When a Toyota gets returned, the entire industry has to ask what changed. And the answer is the manufacturing shortcuts finally caught up with everyone, even the safest brand in the game. What follows is a Hyundai luxury SUV so plagued with electrical problems its own dealers can't diagnose them. Number 2, Genesis GV80, 2025 to 2026. There's a phrase spreading through luxury car forums that Genesis executives dread reading: "I should have bought the Lexus." In 2026, that phrase is appearing under every GV70 and GV80 post. In 2026, the GV70 and GV80 are proving something else. That ambition alone doesn't stop the software from crashing. Here's what owners are reporting. Infotainment freezes, panoramic sunroof leaks, transmission jolts, electrical shorts that trigger cascading warning lights, and windshields with mysterious cracking patterns nobody can trace. Multiple owners describe weeks at the dealership diagnosing issues that never fully resolve. The exact pattern lemon law statutes are designed to catch. For a $70,000 plus luxury SUV, that is unacceptable. The reputational damage runs deep. Genesis built its identity on being better than a Lexus, the disruptor promising real luxury for genuinely less money. That entire pitch depends on absolute reliability. The moment early adopters start publicly warning against the brand, the story cracks in ways no marketing budget can repair. When early adopters start posting return request videos on YouTube and warning others away, the brand faces a crisis that no marketing budget can fix. Genesis returns are quietly climbing month over month, and dealers dealers are running out of loaner cars. Owners who cross-shopped Lexus and chose Genesis for the styling and price are now openly regretting it, publicly, permanently, on the exact platforms Genesis needs to build reputation on. The disruptor is becoming the cautionary tale, and the number one on this list is the SUV with so many defects, it's now the single most returned new vehicle in America. Number 1, Cadillac Vistiq. 2026. The number 1 is a car Cadillac built specifically for families. It's brand new 3-row luxury EV, marketed as the safe, spacious answer to premium electric family travel. It became the single most disturbing product launch of 2026, and the moment it landed on the road, the returns started immediately. Here's what happened. Federal recall documents revealed the Vistiq's power-folding third row would continue folding when an occupant or object was in its path. In official testing, the mechanism kept moving with 33-pound and 40-pound boxes on the seat, roughly the weight of a small child. Cadillac logged 6 additional incidents before issuing a stop delivery order and telling dealers to disable the feature entirely until a permanent fix could be developed. For a luxury family SUV whose entire pitch was safety through technology, that discovery was catastrophic. The financial fallout is enormous. Buyers financed the Vistiq between $80,000 and $100,000, and now find themselves in lemon law queues on top of multiple additional recalls affecting the same model, missing transfer case components, software errors, and radio-based federal safety violations. When a parent posts, "I bought this specifically so my daughter could safely climb into the third row. I disabled the feature myself before we left the lot," the return counter isn't a customer service problem. It's the market delivering a verdict, and the verdict is brutal. If you own a 2026 Vistiq, document every visit. Your lemon law case may already be strong enough to force a full buyback the moment you file it. 12 SUVs, one pattern. Modern cars are too complex, too rushed, and too digital to trust with your family and your loan payment. If your new SUV has been at the dealer more than 30 days in its first year, or has had 4 failed repairs on the same issue, you may qualify for a lemon law buyback. Talk to an attorney. Which SUV is failing you right now? Drop it below and subscribe, because next we're exposing the only SUVs mechanics say to actually buy new in 2026. You'll want that list.